So, welcome to the Helpful Life Show, where you can get ideas to help you grow your eco-conscious business. And today I'm joined by Fran Ellington. Hello, Fran. Welcome.
Hi, Karen. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, you're welcome. So Fran is from Triple Bottom Line Accounting, and we're talking about how to measure your social and eco impact in a business. So Fran is the Business Development Director at TBLA, we'll call for short, Triple Bottom Line Accounting, along with building networks with the local business community. Fran is now working on this new service to offer businesses ways to measure their social and environmental impact. So Fran, so why do you think businesses should account for their social and eco impact?
Well, I don't think any of us have a choice, actually, not just businesses, whether we're individuals, consumers, sole traders, companies, institutions, local, national, global. We've got no choice now but to think about what our environmental and social impacts are. We're finding ourselves in the face of climate emergency, ecological breakdown, the problems with the pandemic, which are definitely related to those two things. And we see how our human impact over the last century or so, and increasingly, in the last few decades has created social problems, social inequality, has created the droughts, the fires, the escalating greenhouse gases, etc. And we have no choice but to think about the impact of all our actions, really. So this has become, I think, better known as as a method for businesses perhaps to increase their sales, but it's not just about increasing sales, although that might be a nice kickback from it. But it's about looking at what's become known as ESG, environmental social governance. So it's about saying, yes, small, medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, we need to make a profit. We need to create the income that will support the people running the business, that will help us invest in improving our products, improving our services. But we also need to invest in people and our planet. So yes, I think that SMEs are part of that solution. We need system change from the top, and that is absolutely crucial. But perhaps that grassroots kind of nudging of our governments and institutions to help us make those changes are essential too. So I just think if we're, as small eco businesses, if we're not really measuring and seeking to prove our impact, we're not only contributing to those emergencies, but we're also unlikely to attract the customers that are increasingly looking for companies that are making a positive impact. And if you need investors, you're not going to, the investments are turning now. They're turning to positive impact.
Definitely. And what sort of changes have you made at your business to address this impact as a company? I know you've got quite a lot of initiatives that you do.
Yeah. I haven't got time to explain them all, but if anyone's interested about finding out more, I can share some links afterwards. But one of the first things I did when I joined the company last year was to make us a founding member of the Climate Perks scheme. I saw it reported in the newspaper and immediately looked it up. It's run by Possible, which used to be known as 1010. And basically, it's about employees encouraging their employees to travel sustainably on holiday. So if you have 4 or 5 weeks holiday entitlement a year and you are thinking about going to, let's say, Spain on holiday, and you and your family are going to fly, the company would say, OK, I'll give you 2 extra days holiday to travel perhaps by train, which is more sustainable.
Yeah.
Then we also became an accredited living wage employer. That's just gone up. The real living wage, as opposed to the government so-called living wage, is now £9.50 an hour. And for anyone 18 or over, that would be our absolute minimum that we would pay somebody who's not qualified and perhaps inexperienced. We've installed a zero waste bin in the enterprise centre where the company is based. I'm working from home today, obviously, and that collects all that plastic packaging that the local council can't recycle. We have a lovely website created by Karen that's 100% powered by renewable energy. We are currently recalculating our carbon footprint because working from home has had both positive and negative impacts on that. So that's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, it is a bit difficult because I'm doing the same, sort of trying to work out mine, and I think it's really hard. It's like what becomes sort of personal stuff versus what becomes business stuff. So yeah. I know the challenges that brings on. And I guess this is really leads on to the next question, and that's probably one of the things that's inspired you to develop a bespoke service like this to offer people.
Well, I've joined up, it's an accounting firm, and I'm not an accountant. I'm a retired history teacher, but I've also always been a little bit of an eco warrior as a teacher at school, trying to encourage my pupils, etc., to think about living more sustainably. Basically, the company's called Triple Bottom Line. It's people, planet, as well as prosperity. And the guys are helping, lots of eco businesses, environmental businesses, charities, not-for-profit sector, etc. And I suppose in a way, our impact is taking away all that bother of finances so they can get on with doing good in this world. But we thought that it would be good to create something for businesses that want to make those first baby steps on that journey, that they want to start to look at themselves, and it's what we've created is a way of measuring those two other bottom lines that are very straightforward. So you would come to us and we would look at making some very straightforward targets that are client-led, what you think you can manage. And then what we're trying to do is to create a story. I don't think you can see it on here, but we're saying, what's your story? Because a story can be so compelling. And I'm not talking about greenwash, let's tell a story, let's make up a story about how wonderful we are, but let's create a story that is genuine, that is authentic. That's actually the difficult bit, because I have a bullshit factor when I see people's, sustainability reports. I think, yeah. So, about doing that, but remembering that if you can make it authentic and you can carry on that journey and those intentions you have, your reputation will follow you long after that story has been read or heard, and that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good point, and it is hard to, but I think people have also, if they are doing that, they've got to show that, and that's again something else I'm working to put more stuff on my website to be showing that I'm actually doing these things and not just talking about them. So yeah. But I know there's a lot of other tools out on the market, and if I can just briefly touch on those, because we are sort of getting on with the time. So you've got things like B Corp.
So B Corps is an interesting one. B corporations have to there's some really, really high standards that you have to pass of very verified social and environmental performance, and your public transparency, your accountability, that whole idea of balancing profit and purpose. There's the ISO 14001 that has very high standards for environmental impact, and the ECG, the Economy for Common Good, has a fabulous common good balance sheet, which is well worth looking up. But they can be quite daunting for us small, medium-sized businesses. If you're running your own business, you haven't got time for all the admin that's required. So, you have big multinationals, Danone, Unilever, that are B Corp companies, and actually was quite cynical when I first saw that, but actually looking at what they're turning around is quite incredible. So basically, there's those measurement tools. If you decided, having worked with us, that you wanted to move on to doing something that's perhaps more recognized, then our consultancy would help you make that transition from the first baby steps with us to something that perhaps will take a little bit more time.
Yeah, fantastic. I think that's really helpful. And I think, the fact that you look at these big companies, you think, oh, they're really doing it. Is it greenwash and all that? I think we've got to encourage it because, as you say, it's also got to come from the top down. So
Yeah.
the fact that they're sort of being almost forced into doing that, I think is a good thing, only a
Yeah.
good thing. And it's going to hopefully just get more and more so. So quickly, because I know we'll sort of come to the end there, what would you say is your top eco business tip?
It doesn't sound like an eco tip, but actually it's about kindness. It's about being kind to each other, because I think that societal breakdown and climate change are so interrelated, and the pandemic and, what's happening to some businesses, they are, they've been closed down. They don't know if they're going to survive, and other businesses are overwhelmed. They've just got too much work. That what they're providing is in higher demand, and so our tolerance levels are very, very low at the moment, and our patience. And so I think it's about kindness, and if we can spread that kindness and we can have that compassion for each other, then we can find time to think about our impact on our environment, on our communities around us. Do what you can in the place that you are, and then hopefully we'll spread the love, and the business will grow as a result.
Yeah, that sort of ripple effect. That's fantastic. I love that. I really love that tip. Thank you very much. So so unfortunately we've sort of come to the end of the time. You can find Triple Bottom Line Accounting at triplebottomlineaccounting.com. They're also on Facebook, they're on LinkedIn as well. So they're all over social media. I will share the links in the post as well. So thank you so much, Fran, for joining us. I know we didn't get to cover everything. It's such a massive topic, but I'll post the rest of the questions in the comments, and then you can come back and answer them on the post. So if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Thanks.
Brilliant.